Greetings, R. Frederick Riddle here. You have probably seen me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. YouTube, I have a podcast, different places you've seen me, and you probably heard me talk about BAT. Well, what is BAT? It's Basic Authors Training. Now, in those times you've seen me, I probably talked about it and explained some things. But I think seeing is better than just hearing. And so what I want to do is give you a little bit of a peek of how I do things, how this is structured, why it is structured the way it is, how this can benefit you. And so I'm going to share a screen with you, and you have to bear with me a minute. And there we are. There we go. So hopefully you can see this. It's BAT dashboard. And you will notice that up here we have modules and we have descriptions. And different modules you have, they have the welcome when you first get there, just a welcome message from me, tells you a little bit about the course and what to expect and things of this nature. And then you have these are divided into different subjects here. So it's going to be business, and here it is, number one, going to be about business foundations. And so what is that? Well, this will take you, if you click on it, I'm not going to do that, but if you clicked on number one here, it will take you to another module. And that module is divided up. You'll see, I think there's one on why be a business person. But then there's also corporate, which is actually 2 in 1. That particular lesson covers corporations and LLCs, or limited liability corporations. Now, I've never been a corporation, but I have been a LLC. I know a little about that. And and that is a corporation, by the way, but it's a limited liability corporation. Another one is called a partnership. Now, someday I may do a partnership. I don't have partnerships right now, but it's a possibility. Sole proprietor. I am a sole proprietor. And these are different types of business. And I explain in these lessons why it is important for you to choose a type. There's 4 types: corporate, LLC, partnership, and sole proprietor. And I go through the advantages and disadvantages of each. You have to make that choice, but it is a choice I think you need to make. Now, you might say, no, I don't need it. I'm not going to do that. Well, fine, but you might want to check it out anyhow, just to hear my arguments and also to gather some information. Because if you're going to go that way, I want you to know the why it is important for you to be set up as a business. Here's a hint. Uncle Sam and all his little nephews thinks of you as a business. Well, who's Uncle Sam? The United States government. Well, who's the nephews? That's 50 of 50 states. Some of them charge of income tax, and the others charge a sales tax. Either way, it's going to be one or the other, and they both want their fair share. Now, I have nothing against the government getting their fair share. What you don't want them to get is more than their fair share, or less than their fair share. You get less, you can get in trouble with them. Get more, well, then you're not getting the full benefit of your business. And so you want them to get their fair share. And they're going to come knocking on your door. Not now. You haven't even written your book yet. But when you get your book published and you start having sales, they're going to say, okay, they're going to come knocking on your door and they're going to say, where's my fair share? Well, if you haven't done anything, if you haven't set yourself up, you can get into a world of problems. When you deal with the government, you got to cross your T's and dot your I's. And while I don't get into all those things in depth, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a CPA. I do get into it enough to let you know that there are ways you have to do things. And you're going to have to fill out forms, you're going to have to file with the government. And to do that, there's some things you need to be in have a business. You can't even have a quarterly filing with the government unless you have at least, at the very least, a doing business as. And I think they're going to require you to have at least a sole proprietor. Nothing is not one of the types. You got to be one of the four. And so you're going to deal with the government, the state government and the federal government. And so I have provided the very first 3 lessons deal with those 4 types. And so that is something that is very, very important for you to understand. Well, let's move on from there. We have down here, number 2, we have beginnings of the basics of website design. Well, you say, I'm not planning on writing my own design. Hire somebody. Great. I would recommend you do that unless you have, if you can handle frustration, if you can handle things not going the way you want them to go, and you can persist on and do it. If you can do that, then go ahead and do it. That's what I did. I've written my own website. I've done it so many times. I can't do it blindfolded, mind you, but I can do it. But even then, I still reach out for help. But I have put together some basics. So if you hire somebody, wouldn't it be wise for you to know what they're going to do? Wouldn't it be great to be able to see what, oh, you've done this and this and this and this. Well, I don't see this. Why haven't you done that? You can ask intelligent questions. You can have an understanding of what they are doing and why they are doing it. And then you can have an intelligent conversation with them as they explain to you the aspects of your website and how it benefits you and how you can use it. And so that is something that I would encourage you to do. Now, after that comes number 4. And you'll see that one, actually getting started, is number 3. And then number 4 is the development of characters, and we get right into the writing at that point. But right in here, around the 5th lesson, actually, it's basically 5 days or so after you've registered, after you've actually started the course, you will have a live Zoom meeting. I'll send you a link and we will meet one-on-one. That's the way it's planned. It could end up being a group. I don't plan on that being that way. I get a lot of, if I have too many individuals, I'll probably do a group at this first time, just because I want to lay out the foundation. So it could be a group, it could be just a single. But whichever way I go, it's going to be a little bit more than most of the videos. Meetings will probably be 15 minutes or more. This will probably be a half hour or more, maybe closer to an hour, simply because I'm going to be laying out for you what you can expect going forward. I don't want you to have surprises. I want you to be able to relax, to enjoy, to be able to work with me, I'm going to be as flexible as I possibly can to work with you. That is why what you're looking at, you might be thinking, well, that's kind of simple. Yes, and that is on purpose. You see, I want you not to have to worry about, well, where do I go here? What do I do here? I want you to be able to go from place to place without a lot of hassle. So you go to a module, and this one here is a dashboard, and it has all your different modules on it. So you have module 1, welcome, and then you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. There may be a 5 and a 6 later on, but right now that's what I have. And so you click on that, and it will take you to another module. That module will be broken up. For instance, the one on business will be broken up. I think the first one is why you should be a businessman or businesswoman. Then there's corporate, which is actually the corporation, LLC. Then you have the one on partnership, and then the one on sole proprietor. And these, you can go in any order you want. I've got them structured that way because I have a plan in mind of how to teach you, how to coach you. This is the teaching part of the 2-tier method. Tier 1 is the teaching. The second one, and tier 2, is coaching, one-on-one coaching. I coach directly with you. I'm not coaching with somebody else at that time. I'm coaching directly with you. Now, I'm starting out with where you're at. This is starting out in the future. Things you need to know, things you need to learn. So that starts out there. Coaching starts here. But as this progresses along, I keep teaching you stuff. You keep learning, and you're going to pull stuff down every once in a while from the teaching. And very, very soon, it's going to get to where they're on the same page. And from that point on, they're on the same page. I mentioned why I want to do that. Flexibility, you know. I mean, before I cough too much, I'm going to take a drink here. Now, the structure here, if you look at this, is allows you the flexibility to skip around. Do I recommend you skip around? Not really. But I don't say you shouldn't either. You see, different people learn at different paces, different rates, different ways. This is going to be flexible. So if you like order, I have it in a very orderly way for you to learn and to build. You're building a foundation that, like a house, you're building a foundation. And as you build and put the foundation, and you build the first floor, then the second floor, and third floor, and so forth. And you are, at the same time, you are getting that learning. And this is the learning part. This is the foundation, all the different floors. But at the same time, you're actually doing the learning, you're doing the coaching. Well, when you're coaching, when we start out, you may not even have a concept, an idea. Now, I would recommend that if you don't, you do now. As soon as you get done watching this video, if you haven't done a concept of the book you want to write, then sit down and write one. It may only be one sentence or one paragraph. That's okay. You're going to grow. That concept will grow. It's going to develop into a plot. And then that may only be one or a few sentences. And that plot will grow. As you grow your book, you're going to be, you'll go back and update your plot. You add characters, goes into the plot. You add scenes and different chapters and so forth. And you update your plot accordingly. So, because you want, that plot is your guideline. You want to be able to look at that story that you're writing and make sure that it's in line with your plot. Now, if it's not, you either have to change your story or change your plot. Think of the plot as your guide as you go forward. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, some of your characters may take over your story a little bit, and so you may have to adjust that plot. That's okay. That's not bad. It can be actually good. And so the thing is that you want to have that oversight, that overview, and it will follow your story through. Think of it like a shadow. And here's your story going through, and here right behind it is the plot. Or you could have it the other way, have your plot and then have the story. It's whatever way works best for you. I want you to have the flexibility to do the 2-tier system until you get to here, but you can actually skip around. You may say, well, I am more interested in doing sole proprietor. So when you get into the business there, you skip the others and go right there to that. But I would advise you to eventually, sometime along the way, go back and look at those others that you skipped. Why? Because you can always change your mind. Now, when talking about business, changing your mind about the type gets very, very difficult, almost impossible. Now, I'm a sole proprietor. Someday I could say, oh, I think I'll become a partner. Well, I can do that. There's some paperwork that has to be done, so forth, but that can be done. Well, maybe I decide, well, you know what? I'll become an LLC or a corporation. I can do that. And going back, you might be able to do it. But when you do it, and the later on you get, you're going to have some things put out there. You're going to have a website, and the website might be tied to your corporate name. Well, you suddenly you change it. You're going to have to, you may have to change your entire website. Business cards, they're going to be influenced by your business name. Different things that you do. You may have marketing tools that you have out there that you may have to change. I've gone through that. I've actually changed. When I first started out, I started out as R. Frederick Riddle. Actually, no. I think I started out as, the first one I did was the name of my book. I wrote one book, and my website, everything was based on that book. Well, then I decided to write more books. Guess what? That website no longer had value, because if people came there, they were going to see other books that they didn't know were there, and they wouldn't have come there for them because it didn't say that. So I had to change it. I changed it to R. Frederick Riddle. Later on, after starting TNR Independent Books, changed it again. So you can see I've had to change a few times, and that's okay. That is just something that had to be done. And you may do that. Just know that when you do it, it causes work. Now, if you hire somebody, they can go in and do it a lot easier than you can. They're pros. But if you choose to do it yourself, just know you got a lot of work to do. So we have the business. Then you have modules 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, you could skip all the way down to 4, which is development of characters and so forth, and say, I want to get down into that. And so you skip to 4. Well, don't forget these others. Eventually you want to do them. And so I would suggest that you take and maybe do a screenshot, print out the dashboard here, and then check them off. And then when you do you go to another module, take a screenshot of that module, and again, check them off as you do them. This here over here is strictly for you for when you print it out. It's not meant for you to have any kind of interaction with your computer. It's just there, a space available to you to use to keep track of your progress. I mean, when you're doing the self-pace, that's the thing. My original idea when I first started writing this was I was going to track your development and so forth, and keep track. And to some extent, I'll still be doing that, just for my information. But you need to do that for your information, because you're going to be self-pacing. So you're going to move it faster than somebody else might do, or you might be slower than somebody else might do. Don't worry about that. You do it at the pace that you can do. And that's why I changed to the modular method. I think it's simpler, it's more straightforward, and it allows you maximum flexibility. Let me repeat that. It avails you of maximum flexibility. I want you to have that. That's critical, because you're in charge of this program. You're an indie author. The moment you register for me with this course, you will be considered by me anyhow to be an indie author. You've never written a book yet. You may not even know how to write a single chapter. That's fine. The moment it got into your mind, you became an indie author. And I'm going to teach you and coach you to where you get transformed into becoming a published author. But that means you are in control. That is what an indie author is. Traditional, the traditional company, publisher is in control. Self-publishing, they're still in control. Indie author, you are in control. Indie publisher, that's me, you are still in control. I am there to help you. I am there to teach you, coach you, get you published and marketed. I'm there to help you. And so I'm going to do things within the law, of course, within regulations, within whatever people we have to work with for printing and all that good stuff. They have their own criteria will have to be met. But when it comes to choices, you have the choices. You have control over them. And you are, basically, I am working for you to produce for you, your book the way you want it produced in a way that will make you look good. And when you get to marketing, that it can be sold and bring you some money. I mean, that's what it is, right? You want to become a published author and you want to make some money from your books. And so that is what that all is. And so this is something I think that it's going to really work well for you. So, but you want to understand that the modular method, I believe, is the best method for you. It works for me teaching it, and it works for you because you have that maximum flexibility. So how do you get involved in this? How do you get started? Well, simply click on the link that I have provided. And in that link, it will take you to the subscription. Actually, if I may actually provide two links, one for prescription, so, no, not prescription, subscription, and one for full pay. And you can click on the one you want. That's probably what I'll do. But the thing is this, that you're going to go there right to the website, and you'll have the opportunity to register, to pay for it, to buy it. I would recommend subscription. It costs a little bit more. So if you want to save some money, the best way is by full price, but it's not pocket change. Okay. So for in the kind of economy we have, I've reduced the price to down to, well, actually I reduced the full pay down, excuse me. But I also reduced the subscription price, which is for 12 months. And don't get hung up on that. I think I mentioned already, but if I didn't, the course can go longer than 12 months or less than 12 months. The 12 months is only referring to 12 equal payments. Go there, click on it. I will get it. You'll get a welcome message and probably a follow-up message from me, because eventually, within a week, I want to meet with you one-on-one, or if there's a lot of us at the same time, if you all come in at the same time, then there'll be a group meeting. Whatever works, whichever way I think will work the best. If it's a large group, it will have to be a group. But that doesn't matter, because this is not going to be like the one-on-one coaching. This is going to be a meeting in which I am sharing with you how we are going to go forward, going to be going more detail. I'll get to know you, and it won't hurt you to get to know one another. So a group meeting might even be an advisable way to go. I'm flexible on that. But the thing is this, I'm going to get you started, get to know you, and then each one of you are going to get started. But you don't have to wait until then. Get that idea, that theme, that concept, and write out what you think of as your plot. Because of whether you go with me or somebody else, that is your first starting point. You got to, for any book, you need an idea and you need a plot. Now the plot is an overall summary. John meets Jane. John falls in love with Jane. John proposes to Jane. John marries Jane. And they go on their honeymoon. There you have a plot. And by the way, as you grow the book, that plot's going to expand more and more and more. So the thing is this, get started now, but you really get started now by going to that one of those links, clicking on it, get the payment in, and we can get started really soon. You'll hear get a welcome message from me. And one is one that everybody gets, but then there's going to be that one that's going to be the follow-up that I will personally write to you, because by that time, hopefully, I will have a little bit of information about you, and I'll share some things about myself, and we can get started on that personal journey together. You have a great day. I hope to see you soon.